Alright, in this video I'm going to show you how to replace the film on the resin vat. You will need a replacement piece of film, a 2mm hex drive. I recommend having a solid hex one to break the screws loose if you have any resin on it, and then kind of a rounded tip one which is easier to use, faster. You'll also need some type of sharp instrument to trim the excess film from the outside. This is the curing vat for my Phrozen Sonic Mini resin printer. I've been having some trouble with a new batch of resin with parts sticking to this. I've made a couple little dents peeling stuff off, and it's been in use for, I don't know, 20, 50 prints. So I've decided to replace this FEP film with a new set and see if that will improve the performance of this new batch of resin I got. So let's take all these screws out. Okay, once you've broken all those free, then I like using this guy to make it easy to get them out. If you never spilled any resin anywhere on your vat, maybe you wouldn't have to break them free first. But I think I've spilled resin everywhere on my vat. So all of the screws have been removed, and now if I just push this film up from the inside, it'll push up this little containment here. And you can see that it wraps all the way around this aluminum holding bar. And so when we put the new film on, we're going to put the film on, we're going to push this in, pop those screws through it, and that will tension this when we pull it in. But first, I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup here. Alright, I rubbed the bigger pieces of solidified resin off of this guy. I hit it with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol just to kind of clean any stickiness off. And now it's time to put a new sheet on. So the sheets come here protected with a little piece of plastic on each side. So I'm going to mostly center it. Put this guy down. You can see the screw heads fit into these little chamfered holes here, so you know that's the bottom side, but it should be facing up when we're putting this down. Alright, so when we push this down, that's what's going to tension this thing. But to do that, we need these screws to have gone through the thing. And so I'm just pushing those through the film. They pop through the film, and then I can start tightening them down. And I'm going to do all four corners here working crosswise from each other. So I'm basically, I did that corner over there. Now I'm doing this corner. Those will hold those two corners down when I do this one and then this one. And I'm not screwing these all the way down. I'm only screwing them in enough to really grab the holes because I want to be able to turn these in evenly. So I have the four corners down. Now I'm going to do these two side bits, and you can see the side bits are actually sticking up a little bit. Like now you can see these two here are higher than the others, and so we're just going to put screws in all of these holes now. You can hear the drum-like effect there as this is getting tighter. Okay, I have all the screws in, but none of them are tightened down. Now I'm going to get a razor knife, cut around the edge here, and that way the film here will definitely not stick out of the edge and hold this thing up at any point. So I'm going to cut this off here and then shrink things down so that edge will definitely be lower than the bottom of this guy. So the absolute worst thing that you can do here is have your hand slip and poke a hole in your film. So don't do that. And look all the way around the edge. If you see anything sticking up, you can take your knife like this and just kind of go around the outside to trim off a little more. Alright, so I'm just going to make a big circuit. Each time I hit a screw, I'm going to turn it about a full turn. And we're going to be making this multiple trips around, and we're basically just trying to keep these things somewhat even in how much downward pressure they're putting down. So if I see a spot that looks higher up than other spots, I might give it 2 turns if it's visibly too high. You can kind of do this by feel too. If it feels super easy to turn, it's probably higher than some of the other places that might be lower down. Okay, at some point these screws will bottom out, and you will feel that as they get noticeably hard or impossible to turn. And you don't want to tighten them too tight. You don't want to be stripping these screws, and so as soon as they get to the point where it's not easy to turn them anymore, you do just maybe 1/8 of a turn more just to put them under a little bit of tension so they don't come out, and then they are done. So I'm just going all the way around to verify that on all these. Okay, and at that point we're basically done. You can hear the drum effect there. Then you want to go and look around the outside edge. So I have just a little bit of plastic sticking up here, and so we want to make sure that that plastic doesn't get in the way of this vat lying flat. And you can feel around the edge to see if you have any other plastic. Now keep in mind, there's plastic blocking these holes. And so either you can take a screwdriver and poke through, or when you put your vat down for the first time, you're going to have to poke through. But expect there to be resistance in these holes until you've poked through there for your upright screws that hold this thing down. All right, so now we have a brand new, nice and clean film